Whoa. Hi, Neil. Happy
Hey,
New Week.
precious Abby. Happy New Week.
I'm
How are
good.
you?
I'm good. Welcome to another episode. This is episode 23.
Wow.
Yes. So it's been 23 weeks of doing this
hmm
every Monday, talking about AI. And every Monday has been a very interesting Monday. So today, we're
How
going to talk
this
about,
podcast is helping you? Are you think you sort of getting better at AI or in touch with AI?
for me,
Yeah.
yes, I think it's helping me a lot, way more than I can imagine. So
Mm,
these days I can now have AI conversations without having to read up one or two documents. I just go in and I'm
mm,
like, oh, this happened here,
yeah.
because every
Yeah.
Monday I get to research about AI. And then also it helps me get to know what's going on in the industry. So
hmm
every Monday I read about 10 news
mm,
and then I only get to talk about four or five max,
mm,
right? So
mm,
it helps me a lot, to be very honest. It helps me.
yeah.
And I hope it's helping our listeners also.
Mm. I mean, it definitely helps me a lot. I mean, sort of keep a pulse on the trend, what's
Yeah.
happening
And
and where is.
it's moving very fast. So
Yeah.
there's
Oh, yeah.
need
No
to
kidding.
always keep up
No
to
kidding.
what's going on. Yeah. So how was your
Do you want to
weekend?
jump in? It's good. You have a bunch of interesting stories. You want to kick us off here?
Yep. Yeah. So I'll be coming from China today.
Mm,
I'll be coming from China today because the first news I have here is that DeepSeek version 3.1 is live. So if you're a big if you're a fan of DeepSeek, I want you to check it out. Version 3.1 is live. So
mm,
this version is using hybrid reasoning model as switches between deep thinking and fast inference, right? So it comes out with 128 context window, 128K, 128,000 token
mm,
context window, and it
mm.
has a 66% SWE bench verified score.
Benchmark. Yeah.
Yeah, benchmark, yeah. So and then they are sort of changing their prices, and the price is changing from September 6th, right? So what this also means is that it's going to be smarter, it's going to
Mm,
be cheaper, and developers are going to have access to smarter and cheaper workflows, and their entire books, the entire log, their workflow, everything can fit into that 128K contest window. So, and this hybrid mode also gives them flexibility. So you can now switch between, in the longer article, they talked about how developers can now switch between, the way Anthropic does something like that. You can now switch
yeah.
between the active reasoning and
Yeah.
the deep thinking. So the deep thinking and the fast inference. Yeah. So you
It's
can.
amazing how they all copy from each other. I feel like it's ChatGPT was the one who came up with this first. Automatically switches. So GPT-5, isn't that the default
Yeah,
favorite?
yeah.
Now I
I,
see
I
Grok
think
has
before
it.
that, Anthropic was already doing something like that
Oh,
also.
Anthropic was doing it. Okay. So then yeah, they're copying from each other. Now
I don't
DeepSeek
think
has
it's
it.
copying. I think everybody's sort of trying to find out what
Grok.
the standard is.
Okay, copy is probably a very strong word. I feel like that all eventually all this product gonna start look very similar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. It's amazing how harder it's getting to differentiate. I mean, I think DeepSeek's I think value props is obviously it's probably the cheapest, good, high quality, cheapest model out there, right?
yeah.
I mean, I'm very tempted to switch. I mean, only thing that makes I have reservations is because it's from China, but other
And
than that, um, it's very competitive. I mean, compared to Claude and all that, it's just 10x cheaper. It's just
yeah,
crazy.
I think the price, yeah, you mentioned that is also 10x cheaper. So the price is also another interesting thing to note. So
Mm,
their input API calls will cost just $0.7 per million
yeah,
tokens for
yeah,
cache hits, and then it's going to cost $0.56 for cache misses, and then output token is going to cost $1.68 per million
yeah,
tokens. So I
yeah.
think it's relatively cheap when you compare it to I think
Oh, yeah.
Gemini Pro is about $10 per million output tokens.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Very cheap. Very cheap. That's just
it's
crazy.
very, that's almost 10x cheaper
Have
than
you
the
also have you ever wondered why the input tokens are cheaper than the output tokens?
No, I
Why is
think
that?
you should actually explain. I believe you can explain for me.
I always wondered that. I don't think I have a really good, solid explanation. I'm pretty sure you guys can chat GPT this. But
So
I
if I
know the
use,
input.
okay, maybe you should go on.
Yeah,
I
so
was
I
trying
can
to
take a
answer
stab at
before you.
this. Uh, the inputs are cheaper because I think most of this model, when they processes data, just one pass, so it can do processing in parallel. The tokens.
Yeah.
It's just okay. The short answer is it's just based on how much compute power it needs to process it. For
Okay.
input, is cheaper to process.
Okay.
Okay, output it's expensive, and one of the
Expensive.
reason for that is that inputs processing can be done in parallel. When
Okay.
the data flows through the neurons, layers is
Yeah.
can do parallel, but output is inherently very sequential.
Oh.
So the next token depends on what the previous token is. It's almost very difficult to do it in parallel. That means it needs more compute and more time, and it's more
Yeah.
pricing.
Oh, I
It
see.
also relates. I'm pretty sure it also ties down to how much cloud providers are pricing them. Right, this is running somewhere in some VM with some GPUs,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's
So
also interesting how all these technologies layered over each other. I mean, cloud computing gave birth. I mean,
yeah,
all these things still have to go through the cloud, and the data has to come from the internet. So we are saying we
right,
unlock this whole new level of internet or whole new level of technology, but it's
right,
actually like improvement on all the other existing layers, just like we've
yeah,
had over time and over
yeah.
generations. Yeah, very interesting.
So the one that I
Okay, so
have
the
is
next story.
oh, okay.
No,
Yeah, next story. Yeah, next story. Yeah. So next story is I from Google. So we covered this story before when Jules came out. This is Google's first AI coding agent. I think asynchronous coding agent.
yeah.
I think when we first covered this story, it was in beta, limited beta, to sort of try it out. So finally, they made this public, so it's generally available now. So Google graduated that product. That essentially means is that they have tested this. Obviously, they have collected all the feedback. So if you're diving into Jules, if you have tested Jules for the first time, you were not impressed, I would encourage you guys to try it one more time because they took lots of feedback from the developers, made some really interesting update in some in terms of user experience and GitHub integrations and all that. Prices are there is always a free tier. I think it's a 15 task per day. A task I think is associated with this Jules you can assign pull GitHub issues to it, and it'll spawn up a Google VM and work on your repository behind the scene.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and the 15 tasks seems very generous to me. Should be reasonable to try it out. They obviously have Pro plan and Ultra plan, which is like $20, and Ultra is like $124. Um, I should be more excited about coding agents, but I feel like we have so many coding agents out there. It's
yeah.
just I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like it just Google the Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is the top of the line model, right? Google's.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's out there,
So,
guys. If you want to try.
so I was thinking about all these coding agents this morning. I said it to someone
Yeah.
maybe yesterday. I said, no simple software in production that is used by a million users has been built using coding agents. This is what someone said on Twitter. And I was
Mm,
thinking about it like, okay, why? So why are all these companies spending a lot of money on coding agents, right?
mm.
Because I mean, people have built stuff using coding agent, but why coding agent? And I keep asking why coding agent? Why is everybody investing a lot of money in coding agent? Why are companies buying other companies who have built interesting coding agents?
Mm.
Why coding agents? Right? Google,
I mean,
OpenAI, everybody.
economics, right? I mean, fundamentally, it's economics, right? I mean, developers are expensive. Building software traditionally has been very costly for lots of companies. It's
Okay.
not thousands, some projects goes for millions, right? So even if you optimize that by 5%, 10%, the bottom line for businesses is like huge cost saving. It's all economics. Companies are not using coding agents because they don't like developers. They're using it because they want to save money and move faster.
I'll move faster.
And their argument could be made, right? Some of this task, and I think we passed that point. We see the value of this, right? I actively use coding agents.
Yeah.
So I tremendously see value. But on the other hand, I don't buy that argument that, oh, you should not learn programming anymore. I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like
because
this is a, yeah.
yeah, I wanted to complete that train of thought. Sorry for cutting you.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I wanted to say that tying it back to our topic today says 95% of AI projects failed. And I'm thinking, oh,
Yeah.
maybe we should get to that story as we are on this topic of coding agents, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know the
Yeah.
angle for the story. Of course, it's your story, but does it does it tie back to that? How does it
I mean,
relate to that story?
fundamentally, so yeah, let's talk about this story. So there was a new news article. Maybe you should share the link for the Jules somewhere. Okay, so there is a news article from MIT report. Okay, so came out recently, which sort of states that 95%. Maybe I should share my screen and see that I can do it here. Yeah. So it says like 95% of the AI pilots fail. Okay, that's a pretty shocking number because the amount of hype we have around AI and the investments going in, right? Oh, sprinkle some AI on your project and it will drastically improve your. Turns out
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way. Um, the fundamentals I feel like are there's no earth-shattering discovery here. I feel like anytime we see new technology, new processes are getting adopted by company, I mean they make mistakes, right? So I think all of the failures sort of ties down to fundamentals of like if they don't start with a measurable business goals.
yeah,
The mandate cannot be like everybody should start using AI, chat GPT across organizations. So initiatives like that has failed because oh, you should use ChatGPT for everything you do is not really a good way to kind of introduce AI. It should be more focused on, okay, this is a problem and we want to fix this problem. Can AI solve that? Is a much better approach to do it.
yeah,
Another thing is that focus on integration. So having tools that integrate seamlessly with day-to-day employees' workflow seems to be very critical. And this we see with any product adoption, right? Asking users to change their behavior is usually very hard. So if you kind of build a product that sort of ties into their existing workflow, you're going to have much better success. Again, right? All of this we have learned over and over again, and when we do that. But one thing
yeah,
that came out, what I thought was very interesting, because the status quo is every company sort of spending lots of dollars building custom solution, right? We're not going to use off-the-shelf product. We're going to take maybe an open source LLM and building our own product. And we talked about this a lot, right? I mean, product like N8N and others like makes it sound super easy to build AI agents. On contrary, in real world, building agents is non-trivial. So that also showed up a
yeah.
lot. So lots of these companies tried to build their own AI solution and they didn't work very well. So this article recommends, and which I tend to agree, you should partner with specialized providers, people who has been there, done that,
Oh,
and has built the solution. Because building AI solution, we talked about this, it requires a different type of skills.
skills, yeah. So I mean, does this also mean that, or maybe people should still continue learning how to be developers? I know there was at the beginning of the when we started this podcast newly, we were a big advocate of, oh, you should still learn how to code.
Yeah.
So this still goes back to saying that, oh, people should still learn how to code. They shouldn't just say, oh, I'm not going to learn how to code, right? Because specialists are still going to be in need. We are still going to have need for specialists in the future.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to learn how to code, and you have to, when we're talking to on our uh, community call or user advisory call last week, right? We sort of identified 3 areas where there's going to be huge demand for skills, programming skill. One is sort of focus on optimizing and fine tuning these models, right? Data engineering flow, right?
Yeah.
Companies are hiring PhD like crazy, right? How much of money Meta is offering for the super intelligence team, right? They're
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, when you look at that and you see there is no demand for it, developers or technology, that's stupid. Look at how much money they're offering. Another bucket is, which is going to be huge market, is building these AI solutions, which would
Yeah.
require learning how to do evals, learning how to do context engineering, right? Learning all these tools and processes. That's huge demand skill. And then whole wife testing aspect, like the product is ready, people who wants to be a tester. If you are a QA and tester, your focus will be like, how can I be good at running evals on these AI agents, right? So that's another
Oh, yeah.
huge demand for all those skills. We are hiring people with that skills.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. So if it's still early, you can still learn AI engineering, you can still learn how to code, still learn Python, then learn how to code, right? It's not late. I think that's the essence of this whole conversation. Right. So let's move to the next story. So the next story is a story from NASA. I find it interesting because it was NASA. So they released this agent. It's not an agent. They released a project called Surya. Now it sounds like Suya. I don't know. Neil, I don't know if you've heard about Suya, but in
Mhm.
Nigeria we have what we call Suya, and it's a type of food, right?
Oh,
It's like, meat, shredded meat, and then kind of roasted or prepared in a certain way with pepper sprinkled all around it. They only sell it at night and they wrap it in newspaper, right? So so it's a type of food we eat here in Nigeria. So when I saw the name, I was like, oh, why is NASA releasing suya? We have it already here in Nigeria. Don't mind me. So yeah, it's Soya. So it's an open source AI trained. This AI model is trained on 9+ years of solar imagery from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory. So all the data they've collected over the years looking at solar, they've been able to use it to train this model. Now it can predict solar flare. I think solar flare is like I don't think I have the general idea of solar flare, but then solar flare is like fire or something, or can detect solar that is 2 hours ahead, right? So um and it can detect it with 16% more accuracy than the traditional method. So this isn't just about space, it is a blueprint for early warning in
yeah.
the AI
There's a burst
system.
of
So
radiation, and the radiation could be harmful for. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then the model is open source, and then which means that anybody, especially people from any part of the world, can use can reuse its transformer architecture for earth sciences, climate modeling, and other power grid stability simulation. So, if you want to simulate, solar crisis, or you want to simulate something, or you want to even um, you know, try to maybe do a study in the solar system. This model is open source and is free for use. Now, NASA didn't do this alone. They all partnered with the almighty IBM.
Mm.
And then there's also another interesting thing because IBM is also having a say in what's going on right now. So, being part of this project, they partner with
Mm.
IBM to release this model. And I think it's something different and something really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
IBM.
I mean, that kind of data is a data that we don't
My
is
question
that
is,
is
what
not readily
IBM doing
available.
these days? I would love to know. Um, if any
I
of the
mean,
listeners you work for IBM, I'm very curious what kind of stories, what kind of strategies you guys are working on. Obviously, IBM makes tons of money from mainframe, and we talked about this a little
yeah,
bit. It's sort of we have no insight into what's happening with AI and mainframe.
Mhm.
That's always, I
Yeah,
feel
we
like,
have
is a
a
huge bottleneck and problem, right? I mean, most of the system runs on this legacy COBOL, right? COBOL, Fortran,
code.
maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know a single person. Actually, I know one maybe who knows COBOL. Used to work for mainframe. Do you know anybody?
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't.
that begs the question: is that down the line, who's going to be managing the systems? It's a
I
skill
think
issue,
that's where
right?
IBM
Skill
comes in.
shortage issue.
Yeah,
Uh,
skill shortage. I think that's where IBM comes in. Maybe they are training models with
yeah,
that
that's the
language,
kind of a
getting their
juicy
engineers
stories I
to,
want. Anybody who knows
yeah,
about this, please give us some update. What's happening?
give us some of these guys. Yeah,
All right. So I have
we'd
an
love
open
to hear
source
from you.
news from Hugging Face. They created something called
Yeah,
AI Sheets. It's a no coding tool. So we're gonna see. I must say, in last few couple of weeks, I've been hearing lots of AI agents that just works on spreadsheets. Right? It's embedded in your Excel, Google Sheets, just help you operate, or just gonna have AI manage the data that you're working with. Um, I think this is amazing because Excel is probably the most important business application tool out there in the world, hands down.
yeah, I'm good.
Most powerful.
Yeah,
I mean, this is just Turing complete language. You can do almost anything with that. And having the AI, I mean, lots of data analysts are constantly using Excel, right? So Hugging Face sort of created an open source version, free, that you can just start using. I played with it before our call here a little bit, so it looks interesting. So you almost can use AI to manipulate your data. The reason this is, I feel like, is very interesting, obviously, for tons of interesting applications around this, right? Business folks can start using
yeah,
it, can have conversation with the data in the sheets, maybe manipulate those data. You can manipulate them as well using AI. It's just natural language. That means you don't have to learn complicated formulas, macros, or anything like that, right? You can just use AI to do this. The another place is sort of interesting is this whole Vive testing, right? Now, lots of data labeling work and data engineering work involves into looking at tons of data in Excel, right? Either it's your training data, your test data. Now, having AI sort of, but AI sort of look at that data and give you feedback, I think it's super valuable. So you don't have to manually just go through the data to understand what's happening. You can use AI now. It's a super cool tool.
mm,
If you share, Precious, if you can share the link, um, I will love
yeah.
you
I
guys
just
to,
I just dropped it
yeah,
now.
I'll love you guys to check it out. I was super excited to see this.
Yeah. So I mean, I used the I used Excel a lot
Mm,
last week, and
mm,
it was. I don't think I want to. I don't think I'm skilled in Excel after the level I used it last week. It was not a good experience for me because it was for schoolwork,
yeah.
and then I spent like 3 4 hours trying to figure out formulas to use for one question. I kept going back
Mm,
and forth with ChatGPT and Gemini. I kept on going back and forth. So I'm definitely going to check out this thing.
yeah.
Maybe for
Now we
next
can use
semester, it's going
this.
to help me. Yeah, it's going to help me a lot. I'm definitely going to look this up. Right. So yeah, and Excel is powerful. This level of things I was able to do, I didn't know they were possible with Excel until last week.
Anything is possible in
Yeah,
Excel. Have you
anything is
seen
possible in
those?
Excel.
Have you seen that they have a world championship in Excel?
No, they
Dude,
do.
you know,
Like,
you do the next story. I'll look up the video. They will have competition. They'll hire experts. They'll invite experts. They'll come in and they'll give them a challenge to solve in Excel. There's a world championship.
wow, wow,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah,
I didn't know. Okay, so the next story before we touch on the World Championships that Neil is looking for us is ChatGPT. So there is this. I didn't know. I saw this story. It looked interesting. I just put it here. I didn't, you know. So ChatGPT participated in this benchmark show, and then GPT-5 surpasses licensed doctors by 24% in reasoning and 29% in understanding. in a multimodal medical test. Now, they say that this has shifted AI from being a doctor level expert to an above human expert performance in healthcare tasks. Now, this is interesting. And personally, why I think this is interesting is also because I live in Africa, right? Healthcare is not easily accessible and it's not cheap, right? What does this mean for me? Does this mean I can now trust ChatGPT's prescriptions, right? Does it mean that I can ChatGPT my symptoms? Does this mean that I can take pictures of, let's say, having some skin reactions or I have this thing? Does it mean that I can now take those things, symptoms, put it in ChatGPT and get response on what I should do? Secondly, does this mean that we can now trust healthcare products that are built on top of GPT-5, right? Because 24% is very large, is a very huge gap, right? So that these two things, does it mean I can just ChatGPT my symptoms? Does this mean that I can trust all the AI health products that have been built? Number three is um, does this mean that doctors will be out of jobs?
Mm. Okay, same argument we had. There is software programmers out of job.
Out of jobs,
So
yeah.
doctors will not be out of job. It's actually good for doctors. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I'm not an expert. I should not say anything. I mean, before ChatGPT, there was WebMD, right? I mean, people has been
Yes.
using
Yes.
internet to ask lots of these questions. Now, should we take this and execute it? Probably not. You should always take an advice from an expert.
Advice.
And I
Yeah.
don't know whether
I,
you can generate a
yeah.
prescription out of ChatGPT. Obviously, there has been some hacks where you can generate real world looking prescriptions using some of these tools. Maybe we should not talk about this. Give people ideas
Yeah. Maybe
and
we
take it
should
to
not.
pharmacy. They'll probably
Yeah.
recognize. Will not even know that this is fake.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
but I can see these models are getting smarter and smarter. I feel like I don't know. I mean, doctors might have a different idea. I feel like this is from engineering point of view. I feel like um, this is a good thing. Doctors should welcome this because that would mean is that they can focus on some more interesting stuff, more personalized healthcare. Right now, I'll have more time for
Yeah.
precious and give personal guidance than I have to deal with 100 patients. I don't have enough time. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's a scaling thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So I just remembered, I can't remember the name of the project, but I know that OpenAI has been sponsoring this med AI med tech project in
Mm,
Kenya. And then I think I saw their documentary weeks ago. They've been sponsoring this project in Kenya. And I think the project is doing well. It's being used on real life
there you go.
situations by doctors in the hospital. But then, of course, it's still under the right environment and all those
Yeah.
things. Then the other thing I also want to talk about is regulations,
Yeah.
right? So when I was in school, we tried building this health care app. You know, we were trying to do startup then, and we built the app, but then we ran into problems with regulations,
Yeah.
right? And then one of the lines that killed the app was that doctors are not supposed to give prescriptions over the internet, right? So you
But
can
that
have a
has
video
changed now,
call
though,
with your
right?
patient. I don't think it has changed in
Oh,
Nigeria,
really? Okay.
right? So in Nigerian law, yeah, you can't give prescriptions. So they want you to see the patients face to face, so you can be able to touch them. There are some things they believe that you can't be able to know without touching. Oh, okay, you want to feel the person's pulse, you want to feel the
Mm,
temperature. So I mean, I don't know if it has changed in Nigeria. Maybe I will check and come back
mm,
with it. But yeah, so I think regulation is also going to
mm.
be another challenge in terms of healthcare for this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, right? I mean, there's lots of stuff happening in robotics, right? Robots doing operations and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there case to be made that in some sense that's good because some of these doctors, specialized doctors, are so overworked and exhausted, right? You're running shifts for 15 hours,
Yeah.
16 hours a day and doing operation in the middle of the night or 2 a.m. and have that level of
Yeah.
precision, right? It's it's inhuman sometimes how much pressure that these doctors goes through, and having sort of automated machine that never gets tired, and hopefully we're going to get to the point we'll not make mistakes. I would think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing, actually. It is.
Okay, so my next story is I'm going to skip this one. Integration to GitHub Copilot. I mean, okay, who cares? So GPT-5 is now available in GitHub Copilot. Okay, that's it. We don't have to talk.
Yeah, I think I saw. Sorry, they said the way they put it, they said it's in the hands of all developers right now. So every developer can now use GPT-5.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
But I still use Sonnet. I'm probably going to stick with that. I haven't moved to GPT-5 yet. So one I want to talk about is a paper that came out from NVIDIA, which I think is sort of interesting and promising. In some level, it sort of makes sense to me. Obviously, I'm very interested in agentic solutions, so that's why I got excited. So the paper says that small language models, not large, SML, not LLM, are a future of agentic AI. So the paper makes a case that the small models are SLMs are getting better. So they define this means any model that has less than 10 billion parameters. So your GPT OSS 2 billion parameter model will be a small language model. Some of the small language models already match or suppress old versions of the large language model. Those models are getting really, really good, giving us a really good performance. And it's also efficient, right? Smaller models means potentially you can run on your machine, maybe on your phone someday, and sort of get the same type of performance. So the argument goes is that typically when you do agent, it's sort of true. When you build an agent, you take sort of top level task and break it down into narrow subtask, right? Okay, do this. Let's take a classic coding agent example, right? Solve this issue for me. A coding agent will typically take that issue, break it down into tasks, right? One of the tasks could be find the necessary files that is related to this problem. Okay, find the files that are affected by this bug. So when you have a narrow focus task, it sort of makes sense that maybe we should use small language models for this, because you don't need the powerhouse, right? You already know exactly what you want to solve. So in that sense, this really fits well into your agentic architecture, because it's true that you will take a big task and break it down to the smaller one. So most of the agents don't need full-blown human-like conversation, which is true. There are a huge number of agents. I mean, in some cases, I would argue that agents that does automate your background jobs are very, very efficient and useful. So they don't need the chat interface. So they don't have to worry about this processing of this. And small language models are good enough, and they're cheaper and faster. So
I think
that's the argument.
economics is going to decide on the long run.
Yeah.
Economics is, by the way, I think we mentioned this last week, this small language model. So I think
You did.
economics, we did. Economics is going to matter. Economics is going to be the deciding factor, because people want to, use cheaper models, and by that factor, trying to look for cheaper models, they are going to run to these smaller language models, because they don't need all the other powerhouse, all the other things that the other models can do. So yeah, I agree with it 100%.
Cool.
All right. So the next story I have here is a very simple story. So AI mode, um, AI mode, just like we said. I don't know.
AI
We
mode.
of course
What does it mean?
AI mode. Yeah,
Oh, AI mode.
we
Okay.
AI mode. Yeah, mode. So we've covered it in the past. Some time ago, that Google is launching this AI mode when you try to search on Google. So you have this AI mode, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they made it public. It's now available in 180 countries. So everyone can use this. Yeah, so it's a very simple story. Um, you can easily use it to find agentic assistants. It helps you move beyond answer. It's I think it's when Gemini summarizes the story for you, right? That's AI mode.
Yeah, at the top
And
of it. You get it, right? I
yeah,
got it. I get it.
yeah.
I've been getting it for a while.
I've
I
been getting
I
it for a
ignored
while.
them
Yeah.
though.
Oh, why?
I don't know, maybe I just directly want to go to the actual.
I mean, so there was a huge argument, right? There was a huge argument. I think a journalist sued Google at some point. He said, my blog is paywalled, right? And then I have information that I'm charging people to read on my blog, but you're taking those informations through AI mode, and then you're putting it out just there. So, and
I mean,
so
it's not
those,
Google's
those
fault. I
people
mean,
don't.
you can use the robots.txt file to say do not scan those URLs, right?
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
can I do it
you
for
can always
myself
tell
on
Google
my blog?
not to scan particular page. Yeah, yeah.
But
I
they
mean,
still
Google.
want the page to rank on Google. That's the thing. So they
Oh,
want
then
the
you
page
have to
to
like.
be on Google, but
Mm.
they don't want Google taking information from their page and giving out to people searching for free.
I'm going to take it back. I sometimes do read the review and the summary at the top, and I then hit the actual URL.
Yeah, that was the defense. That was the defense from Google. Google said, but of course, redirect these people to
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
if you think your information is really valuable, then you should get more users, more people come into your blog because we still redirect them back to you. But this guy
yeah.
is saying, no, it's my intellectual property. Why will you put it out there? I listened to a podcast under Fisher how to make some statements. So it's a very long story. Yeah. Okay. So the next story for me, maybe I should go to the next one, which is my last story for the day, is
Okay.
PyTorch 3.0 is out if you're a
Mm.
Python developer, right? So PyTorch 3.0 is out, and then it has this built-in memory optimization, and then five fast attention primitives and new profiling tools. So this makes it easy to use PyTorch to train larger models and running the
Mm.
efficient LLM pipelines, and then it is faster and more efficient, right? So if you've ever hit CUDA out of memory,
Mm.
I think PyTorch 3.0 is going to help you train
Mm.
models on limited hardware. So I think
So
yeah,
one
everything.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up. So you saw the announcement from OpenAI, right? That they have a different pricing for India now.
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
they're
yes.
opening their first office in India, in New
In
Delhi.
India, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think Africa is next.
I'll get yelled at for this, but New Delhi is a very interesting choice if you ask me.
Okay.
So I mean, there are smart people everywhere, but
Yeah,
concentration of engineers are more in sort of south, right? Bangalore is like an hub, Hyderabad, there are a bunch of other cities. So it's interesting to me. My conspiracy theory is that, like, so why open in Delhi? Delhi is obviously capital. I mean, I think
yeah.
there might be very interesting political influence on this, but nonetheless, it's fascinating to see how bigger the India market is for ChatGPT. And
So I
I
think
mean,
I just want to ask: is that the only office outside the United States that they have currently?
I think so.
Okay, that's very
Will be.
strategic.
It's not open yet. Will be. Yeah,
Or will be.
yeah.
Okay, I
I
think
think
that
it's
is
a very,
very.
very smart move. I must say, it's super smart move. I mean, why wouldn't you? India is a huge, huge market, and there is a huge. I mean, India has a very interesting demographic and strength is that the majority of their population is younger.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so there's a where we have. I mean, India is also. I think birth rates are going down, but birth rate is drastically down in Europe. It's going down in US, but India has a huge chunk of their population is pretty emerging
yeah,
devs between maybe 25 to 35, and
yeah.
that's a huge segment of your users using ChatGPT. I think it's
Oh
super
yeah,
smart to build something around that.
around that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
obviously there is a huge talent pool there. So
So
Delhi as a location sort of is interesting to me. Why that? Why not Bangalore? But
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's actually very interesting. When I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. This is cool. That means Africa is
yeah,
next. I should,
yeah.
you know,
Should be. I mean, I don't know what the data shows in terms of, but you
use
have a
it.
pulse, right? I mean, do you know anybody in your group that doesn't use AI?
I don't. I don't
Yeah,
think I
there you go.
know anybody
Yeah,
that doesn't use AI. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the question is always Claude or ChatGPT.
yeah.
It's not
So
the
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
This is cool.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Cool,
All right.
wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone that joined. Thank you so much for coming to this episode of 10x Developer Podcast. See you in episode 24 next week. Same time. We hope to see you and we hope to have you here with us next week. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming. Please do make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then, yeah, follow us also on social media at Tublian and join our community. And also install our Chrome extension so you get Upwork and LinkedIn gigs easily for yourself.